crazy, crazy, crazy.
Ounce of energy at your disposal to help us rebuild the infrastructure of the Pan-African movement. I want you to use every ounce of your energy to help us rebuild the structure of Black America, the Black Caribbean, Black South America, Black...
We was Kangs. Do I have to say it again? Hello. Welcome back to another video. We are back again. Sorry, my hair's wet. I just got out of the shower and I didn't feel like blow drying it because it's already fried from me putting a box dye on there. So I figured I won't put it through any more hell than it's already endured. But anyway, we are back again with another video. Today we are going to be looking at some videos from Dr. Omar. And the reason why we're bringing him up, I think he's a Black Hebrew Israelite. Pretty sure. And if you know anything about Black Hebrew Israelites, they are like the founding fathers of the We Was Kangs movement, okay? They believe in Wakanda. They're pretty based on the Jays, but that's about it. They kind of fall short when they're like, we was the Jays. Okay, I don't know why anyone would want to be a Jay, but all right, whatever. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Anyway, let's take a look at this whole video. One of the interesting things to note about Black Hebrew Israelites is they really do hate white people. Like they discourage race mixing, not from a base perspective, but because they hate white people, right? On that point, I actually agree with them. You should keep your bloodline pure, but the reasoning for it on their end is like this whole weird quagmire of Black power and whatever, everything that if white people engaged in, and if white people said the same things Black Hebrew Israelites said, they would be cast out of civil society forever. They wouldn't be able to work. They wouldn't be able to have a voice. They wouldn't be able to make money, and they would not have a platform. So that just goes to show a little bit of the double standard we're dealing with. But let's just jump right into this video and see what Dr. Omar, I don't know how to pronounce his name, has to say.
I didn't say you got to mistreat them. I didn't say you got to hate them. You got to understand them. That's all, brothers and sisters. When you see a pit bull dog, do you hate the pit bull? No. But you know that pit bull got some tendencies that you don't necessarily want to evoke, so you keep your distance from the pit bull. You don't hate the pit bull. I love snakes. I love snakes. But guess what? I know snakes got certain types of natural...
So you know he's comparing white people to pit bulls right now. And snakes now as well. Sorry, I've got a Zen in because I'm trying to get off nicotine, and apparently trying a different form of nicotine helps. But yeah.
Tendencies that I don't necessarily want to find myself on the wrong side of. So I keep my distance from the snakes. So I'm not telling you to hate white folks. I don't teach hate. I'm telling you to understand your enemy and know when your behavior needs to be adjusted so that you don't fall victim to the enemy. That's what I teach. I don't teach hatred. Hatred is energy. I want you to use every ounce of energy at your disposal to help us rebuild the infrastructure of the Pan-African movement. I want you to use every ounce of your energy to help us rebuild the structure of Black America, the Black Caribbean, Black South America, Black Australia, Black England, Black Canada, Black Africa. I don't want you wasting time hating white folks. That's valuable energy. That's valuable energy. Why the hell will I tell you to hate your enemy? If hating your enemy was going to solve your problems, we'd be free already. I will never teach hate. I ain't got to hate my enemy, but I got to understand my enemy, and I got to defeat my enemy. I do not have to hate him. If you've ever taken martial arts, if any of you have ever taken martial arts, one of the first things they teach you in martial arts, and I took Taekwondo right here in the streets of North Philadelphia as an elementary school student. In Taekwondo, the first thing the instructor teaches you, your emotions are never to be wasted on your opponent. Your emotions are to be channeled into constructive activity. Your emotions are never supposed to be wasted on your opponent. Your emotions are supposed to be channeled into constructive activity.
Okay, we get it. I've heard enough of this ranting. What I love is that he's saying white people are the enemy, you know? Oh, really? Have you ever checked out the stats on black on white crime? It's staggering, actually. And then you reverse that and you look up the stats for white on black crime, and it's basically non-existent. And then you can look at black on black crime, and it seems like black people are their own worst enemies because that's through the roof as well. The reason why I'm bringing this video up is because we're all vindicated. At the end, whites win. I'm not joking. That's a joke, of course. But the whole thing is this guy's whole thesis is that black people are better than white people. White people are the enemy. They're snakes. They're dogs. And you need to avoid white people at all costs and just do dealings and just work with black people. Well, if anybody knows how that is, I mean, if I said that's not the best policy, I would get canceled for being racist. Actually, good luck with that because I've already been canceled and it didn't work, okay? It didn't work. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger, and this is true. This is the attitude to have going forward. Cancel me. Cancel me. Keep trying to cancel me. You're just making me stronger. I'm just building my, like that fragrance guy, power! Okay, so the reason why I bring this video up is because of this. He basically proves all of our points and vindicates us all. Because this is what he found when he was only going to work with white workers, or black workers rather. He was only going to employ blacks. He was only going to surround himself with blacks. And it seems like it didn't really turn out for him as he had hoped.
After waiting 4 years on black people, I decided to start hiring whites. And guess what? They did in 1 year what the black people couldn't do in 5. White people overcharged us too, but they finished the work. But let me give you this though. And I can say this now because I'm over it. FDMG to almost every black contractor we ran into was nothing but a hustle and a way to get a quick bag. When I look back, they simply used us to get money. They didn't care about me. They didn't care about their school. They didn't care about our kids. We were just a quick hustle. Before we got to school, people was all over the internet saying, as soon as he get to school, we're gonna do the work for free. Y'all probably heard that. Once he get to school, I'm gonna do the plumbing for free. Once he get to school, nobody did anything for free. That was all cash.
Well, you don't know, or you don't say. Shocking. I could have never made that prediction. I could have never told in a million years that if you only hire black contractors and you only surround yourself with black people who, if you look at these civilizations they've created, well, they're still living in mud huts. So there is that. There is that. Whitey does contribute something to society, like society itself, like a safe society that people can't wait to move to. People move in droves to the United States and other Western countries, and then all they do is complain incessantly about racism. Well, it must be pretty good here if you're willing to put up with all that racism to live here, and that's thanks to white people. If you look at South Africa, what's going on there, they basically kicked out all the white people. That's why we have some refugees coming here, which, by the way, the media was flipping out about the 40 families that came here. It was like 40 to 60 families who came because they're like the only ones left because they were wiped. They were literally genocided in South Africa. And now what are they doing? Well, they're using apartment shafts, escalator shafts as dumpsters. They're pulling out all the wiring and the electricity out to sell the wiring. So now they don't have electricity, they don't have clean water, and they are using the elevator shafts as trash bins. Yeah. So just like Dr. Omar said himself, maybe Whitey does contribute something, you know? And maybe you should get off your little black power soapbox a little bit and just stop seeing people as the enemy and maybe start seeing yourself as the problem. That'd be a great place to start. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Apologies again that my hair's all wet, but I'm too lazy to blow dry it, and that damages it, right? Almost as damaging as hiring a person of color as your contractor. Anyway, have a good one, and I will see you in the next video.
If you're an American, stop pronouncing things in their native, how they would be spoken natively. It's like how people say, instead of Iran, Iran. Ugh, it's so insufferable when they're talking about a South American. Like, I went to Mexico. No, you didn't. You went to Mexico, you stupid. They're Muslims. Actually, I prefer or sand, but they're Muslims. They're not Muslims, okay? Why are you showing deference? Why are you doing that? We're America. We own you. We own you. Mark Zuckerberg now is obsessed with being cool. Again, with nerd shit. Listen to this just get caught in a lie. It's really funny.
Although my favorite is bow and arrow. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's, I think, like the most...
Oh, yeah, Zuck, you're really out there hunting.
What kind of bow do you have?
Gosh. I didn't get to do it this season, but...
Do you know the company that makes it?
Not off the top of my head. I have
You have to know.
Yeah, no, this is
that's
embarrassing.
tough.
This is embarrassing.
Do you know how old it is?
No, it's not old.
Okay.
I think it's like a...
Did you get someone to coach you?
Yeah.
Who coached you?
You can tell Joe Rogan's face. He's like, you lying back.
It's basically a bunch of the guys who
Oof, I cannot stand Mark Zuckerberg. He sucks. I could give less of a shit about the Super Bowl, to be honest. I think it's really... I think it's a waste of people's time. I feel like the only reasonable person that would watch sports is somebody who was a former athlete. Then they kind of have like an invested interest. But if you're not an athlete, you're just like a couch potato watching, some ball sport or whatever, and you think you're cool and an athlete because you watch sports and you're involved in sports, then you're okay. Sports are unless you were an athlete or you're playing on the team. Okay, it's a waste of money. It's really stupid. The halftime shows are always.
If you're wondering who really controls our government and you're finding yourself disillusioned with this two-party system because despite the fact that you vote your guy in or they vote their person in, it seems like we always come to the same end. It seems like both parties and the United States government in general is serving someone else's interest. When you notice white people pushing anti-white propaganda, it's really, really odd because you're like, okay, why are you a white person trying to get people to not like white people? And then what you do is you take an early life check. And after that, it all becomes clear. A sign of a high IQ is noticing patterns. So if you're wondering who actually controls your government, if you are interested in learning more and going down those rabbit holes, I suggest you take a look at the early life check, and that will answer basically all of your questions. It's also a sign of a high IQ.
What you have established is that our founding fathers were all woke right by your admission.
If you want to try to fit that square peg in that round hole, by your definition, the founders were woke right.
Well, no, you just conceded that every portion of the definition that you gave applies to the founding fathers, which would include George Washington, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So basically, George Washington is woke, right?
Yes.
What's up, folks? We are back again. Okay, so one of the big debates raging on X right now, raging across social media and basically within the MAGA movement in general, is this idea that MAGA has split. And to one side, you have the MAGA diehards, and to the other side, you have the woke right. The woke right, folks. Welcome to the new golden age. And then you have these party poopers, the woke right, and they're not worshiping a presidential candidate. They simply want to know the truth. They actually just want to get to the truth. That's what's going on. So what's kind of started all of this is this great awakening that people have had, due to the fact that more information is coming out, now that there's a little bit less censorship going on social media, and especially after October 7th, people started waking up to realizing that, we're kind of discovering now who actually the globalists are. We're kind of figuring out who the people actually are who run our government. And I can't obviously go into this because we are on YouTube, which is extremely censored. But you know what I'm saying. The people involved starts with the letter J. That's your hint, okay? This is your game show hint. Starts with a J, all right? So that's what's happening. It's an information war that has been lost by the establishment, an information war that has been won by people like NJF, because I can't say his name either. If you know, you know, and others like him. Stu Peters is another one. A lot of people who have been out on the front lines when it was really difficult to talk about these things have now thankfully seen the fruits of their labors. People kind of now have woken up. They realize what's going on. Naturally, as a response to that, the establishment is going to deploy their propagandists in the form of people like James Lindsay, in the form of people like the Misfit Patriot, okay? These are all hardcore MAGA people that we thought 5 years ago were on our side.
turns out, with the discovery of this new information, with the fact that people are waking up in droves, now people are like, you know what? You actually don't sound as conservative as I thought. You may be conservative, but you're certainly not America first. And my values align with America first, not Israel first, not some other country first. You know, we kind of want Americans to be put first. Anyway, all that to say, this is the debate that's been going on. So this term woke right has been invented by these influencers. I don't know if they're all in a group chat together. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it's been invented. And if you go on X and you type in woke right, you will see every one of the page shilling this term. They're trying to discredit people who simply care about telling the truth by calling them woke right. So here's the debate between Andrew Wilson and the Misfit Patriot on some podcast. I'm not familiar with the podcast, but let's go through this and see if Misfit Patriot, one of the paid propagandists, this dude, by the way, with the camo hat, LARPing as one of us, this guy's a fraud, okay? This guy is being paid. This guy is a shill. This guy is not one of us. He LARPs as one of us, okay? And he calls people who are interested in the truth the woke right, including myself. I've had several public beefs with this dude, okay? Let's see if he proves his point. Let's see if he really convinces us that we're the woke right.
Did they hyper focus on race?
Again, you're talking about a different time.
Can you just answer my question, dude?
No, if this is your argument, then you're creating a bullshit argument.
Okay, but can you just listen? I'll answer to your cross examination with yes or no's. Can you do that for me?
Yes, they did, Andrew.
Okay, they did. They hyper focused on race. Do you think that they engaged in identity politics?
They again emphasized individual.
He's talking about the founding fathers here, by the way, just for the record. So Andrew Wilson's trying to set up this argument, basically, that the woke right that are being labeled as the woke right by people like this loser, that they are actually more like what the founders were than the way they're trying to describe us. So what his argument is, this woke right term, it actually describes the founders of this country, like George Washington.
Rights and moral agency. They didn't want.
So that was identitarianism under the axiom of God, right? The axiom of God was our identity as a Christian nation is that we hold these truths to be self-evident under God, that this people group deserves X rights, right?
I agree, yes.
Okay, so then there would be identitarians for sure, and they practiced identity politics for sure, right?
Identity as a nation.
Well, as a people group as well, because not everybody could participate in the nation unless they were part of certain people groups.
You could say that, yes.
Okay, so then what you have established is that our founding fathers were all woke right by your admission.
If you want to try to fit that square peg in that round hole, by your definition, the founders were woke right.
Well, no, you just conceded that every portion of the definition that you gave applies to the founding fathers, which would include George Washington, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So basically George Washington is woke right?
Yes, Andrew.
Okay.
George Washington is under your definition is woke right.
Well, it's how is it my definition? Did I give you a definition of woke right?
I'm sorry, Andrew. You're right. Under my definition that you utilize
I used.
You manipulate.
How did I manipulate it? I just applied it. I just applied it.
This is how you know he's losing the argument and that Andrew Wilson is winning the argument, because now he's saying, "Oh, you're actually just manipulating." No, nobody's manipulating. Oh, we had what? Did Andrew Wilson have a watch up and was trying to hypnotize you? There's no manipulations going on, dude. You just proved his argument. Okay, that's all. Just concede that you lost.
Well, I had to say this in my opening statement. What you do is you manipulate conversation.
That's not manipulation. It's an argument.
How did he manipulate the conversation in any way? He just set up the premise and asked him questions, and he responded.
Yeah.
And what I did was a Socratic method in order to apply your definition and see if you consistently would apply it across the board.
Because you asked me a question over and over again if they engaged in identity politics, and I told you they emphasized individual rights.
But those rights didn't apply to everybody, right?
They fought to get rid of slavery, as opposed to what the woke right now is.
Did they fight to give women? Did they fight to give women rights?
At the time, I don't think so.
No. So the thing is that
they were trying to.
Yeah,
end
they
slavery.
no, but if it is the case that you exclude half of the population, that would be pretty identitarian, right?
There was a focus on race, but it wasn't exclusionary. It
wasn't exclusionary. The focus on race by our founders was not exclusionary. Did you say that?
I say that they were trying to end slavery by the founding of this country. They were on their way to working towards a society.
No,
What?
they abolished international slavery and then kept grandfathered slavery in until all of them were dead.
When we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created,
but not women, right?
Yeah. Exactly. You're talking about a different time.
Yeah,
Again,
so not all women. So then it's exclusionary definitionally, right?
If you view this argument through the lens of 1776, my definition and yours can be taken as woke right. If you use this framing tactic.
Yeah. So it's not a framing tactic. It's just applying it. So if I were to say, for instance, would you consider of course no, I'm just reducing. It is true that I'm reducing the argument, but the thing is arguments beg to be reduced so that we can see if they're consistent. When we move back, for instance, if I were to ask you, a lot of the founders, you agree with me, like Thomas Jefferson, were deists, right?
Yeah, there was a couple.
Yeah, they were deists. You wouldn't say that those are Christians, would you?
No.
Okay, but even though that at the time, right, the way that Christianity was practiced in the United States, far different than it is now, but you can still make the application for consistency as to what a Christian was or wasn't. Your idea of woke right is taking a descriptor of behaviors, and then with the descriptor of behaviors, you're trying to assign it a label, in this case, woke right. That's fine to do, but the descriptor needs to apply across all groups. So otherwise,
but it's beyond that. It's not just a descriptor. This is an orchestrated attempt to discredit people who are speaking the truth. This is an orchestrated attempt to make mainstream MAGA not even want to listen to any of the points that these quote woke right people, who are the actual truthers in this movement, have to say. It's far more sinister than just, you're just name calling. No. This is so much deeper than this. This is trying to win the information war. They've lost it, or they're on the brink of losing it. And the majority of people are waking up and they're not listening to Misfit Patriot, okay? They're not listening to that. They're listening to the people who are banned from every platform. They're listening to the people who are put on no-fly lists. They're listening to the people who are not invited to the galas and these political conventions. That's who they're listening to, and that's why they came up with this label, woke right, to discredit them.
The descriptor is meaningless, doesn't point to anything, because this descriptor is about behavior. It's just like with the trans movement. If you were to say a woman is a woman, it's an infinite regress. So if I said, Misfit Patriot, what is a woman? You said a woman's anybody who identifies as a woman. You've given me an empty label. It doesn't point to anything. When you say woke right, you're saying this points to a pattern of behavior. If that's the case, then by the metric of this pattern of behavior, all of these guys, our entire founding father, all of them would be woke right.
Sure.
So if that's the case, then who's closer to the ideals of the founding fathers, you or the fucking Groyvers?
I would say me, because I don't ask for authoritarian. I don't ask for laws to be changed.
They did.
Hold on. They set these laws, right? So we started with, these are the American laws, right? The founders founded the law. They didn't try to change the laws that they founded. They founded the laws that we are supposed to abide by. Okay, so they're trying to change the laws of the founders.
No, they're not. Listen here, I'll give you an example. And the thing is, I'm not a groyper, but this is so silly. It's so easy. It's so easy for me to dismantle it.
I said you were woke right adjacent.
Yeah, but I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying, I'm not even a groyper, and this still is just so easy to dismantle. It makes no sense. So if we go through this, when you say, well, our founders are trying to give us laws we can't dismantle, that's just factually not true. They gave us multiple amendment processes to do this. Like, for instance, we have the 19th Amendment. We have the 18th Amendment, right, which was the prohibition on alcohol. We have, I could go through line after line. The same thing with the 10th Amendment, which gave states all sorts of appropriate rights to change, including the state religion if they wanted to. So it's like, how could you even make this argument that...
He makes this argument because he's stupid, he's a shill, and he's being paid to do that. And he's most likely of the same tribe that's controlling our government. Okay, so to get away from all of that, yes, that was a fun argument. It goes on and on and on and on. There's no arguing with these people, okay? You're never going to change the mind of somebody who is being paid to believe the opposite, okay? That's just the bottom line, okay? I'm sorry, but that's never going to happen. So don't even waste your time. Literally, do not even waste your time. The important thing is to realize that for years, it's been the lefties that label people so they can discredit you. You're racist, you're a misogynist, you're sexist, you're homophobic, you're whatever, as a way of getting you out of the conversation, having people not listen to what you say, and painting you as a fanatic. Well, that's exactly what the right wing is now doing to the true right-wing America First people. That's what's actually going on. And that's a very interesting split that's happening within the MAGA movement, within the right wing, is people are now branching off and they're either becoming nationalists because they really care about their country and they realize that these, quote, conservatives and Republicans are selling them out. And so the only way to save their country is to go in that direction, or it's people being paid, okay? And that's why when you see this rise of labels and you see people all kind of parodying the exact same thing, like almost verbatim what somebody else tweeted, you can almost be 99% sure that the memo went out. They're either being paid to do this or they're all in a group chat, okay? They're all in a group chat and they're literally being fed the propaganda, or they're being paid by companies who put out these campaigns. And where that's coming from, whether it's coming from the Republicans or the Democrats or the people who are actually controlling both parties, who knows? All you should know is if somebody, I love how, by the way, he's talking about we all should be individuals. Meanwhile, he's parodying the exact same thing that all his friends are. So very individualist of you. All that to say, this is a good reminder to keep your eyes out for people who are trying to label their opponents. Labeling their opponents is a way of discrediting them so no one will listen to what they have to say. That's what's going on the mass scale. Keep an eye out for it. I hope you enjoyed this video. That wasn't quite as fiery of a debate as I would have thought, but it kind of exemplifies everything that's really going on. And if you are actually interested in learning the truth, it is important to kind of know the tactics that these people use to suppress the truth, because they can LARP as a Republican, they can LARP as a conservative, all they want, but they're not, because they're employing the exact same tactics as the Marxist left has been using for years. So you know they're not on your side. Anyway, have a good one, and like, subscribe, share the videos. I don't know. I'm supposed to say that. It's supposed to help. I don't really like saying that, though. It sounds dumb, but have a good one.
I know it's hard out there for young men. For years, they've been persecuted with the feminism, with this anti-white male rhetoric that's been spun around forever. But this year, I think we're finally seeing a shift in the culture, and that's not because of political pundits. That's not because of anything. That's because young men have finally stood up and they're kind of bucking against this system. And that's what we need. That's why they've tried to keep you down for so many years with all these little mechanisms that they do, is because when young men finally wake up and buck the system will crumble because it's weak. It's a facade. It's a house of cards that is only held up by people being afraid of it. Have fun, speak out, crack a joke, be offensive, be a toxically masculine man, because toxic men, toxic masculinity is what saves the country. And feminism is dead, okay? And it's dying because the young men are over it.
Former Trump White House official and political commentator Cameron Kinsey, along with the host of the Relatable podcast, Ali Beth Stuckey. Cameron, to you first. I would be remiss if I did not hand you a bottle of water to keep you hydrated.
I'm surprised you don't have a seatbelt for me in this chair.
We thought about it, and we thought about putting a whole bunch of pillows around there. Cameron, as you can see, is gloriously upright and well. No thanks to me, according to the internet. Thank you very much for that, internet. But wouldn't you rather be rescued by a guy called Romeo than a guy called Jonathan?
Yes, I had an amazing team, and I thank each and every one of you seriously for being there. Romeo
Ballantyne, a great hero, always, every night here. Cameron, it's great to have you. So let's get to the serious stuff here. I want to play a quick clip of President Trump defending this issue of the Qatari plane as a gift. Here's the president.
We've secured that part of the world for many years. So if somebody makes a gift, and I'm not getting, I get nothing. I get to fly it like any other president would. Ultimately, it'll be at the end of its lifetime or at the end of the term, because we're going to have the other ones in by that time.
So, Cameron, is this much ado about nothing and all the brouhaha over this plane?
Well, look, I think President Trump is taking the right stance on this issue, and I'm just glad that we actually have a president that's able to answer the tough questions and who is being transparent, unlike President Biden was. President Trump has accomplished more than in this term than Biden has in his 4 years combined with his presidency. We saw this on his trip, demanding respect on a global stage. We had the Crown Prince welcoming President Trump, defying protocol just to welcome him. So I'm glad that we have a president who is, maintaining global dominance and restoring respect for Americans.
Ali Beth, let me play a clip from Chuck Schumer here on what he views as the plane gift. He calls it more bribery. Listen here.
This is an issue of outright bribery and a serious issue of national security as well. To let any foreign country donate, quote unquote,